there, it's Kevin with Gone Rogue Games. You can see my chaotic mess here, so apologize for the lack of videos in the last couple days. Want to get back to doing these daily kind of vlog and what we got going in the store, but man, I have been absolutely swarmed. So I think I bit off a little more than I can chew. I've just had an overwhelming amount of people sign up for the Patreon and of course start to order a lot of products, which is good. Maybe we'll actually matter with distributors, and in the future this won't be the case of what we're dealing with. So topic of this video is the Pitiful Pokemon allocations. So this is, let me move this magic out of the way so you can tell I'm just overwhelmed with orders here that have come in. Maybe we'll talk about that before we get into Pokemon. So things that are selling really hot, these Ixalan Commanders. So I've gone through hundreds of these LCI Commander decks. So I guess my video that I did on the Rogue Market had a good little response, and I still think these are great pickups. So there still is a couple of distributors that can get these LCI Commanders. I like these every time they rebound. So once again, the rumors are not true about Wizards of the Coast cutting like reorders or reprints of everything. I've been hearing it circulate like crazy that Wizards of the Coast is just doing one and dones now. Not true on Commander decks. We are now getting Karlov Manor reprinted. So there's Thunder Junction, Karlov Manor. So we had Bloomburrow that sold out instantly. Their last reprint of Bloomburrow is gone now. It's very, very tough to find Bloomburrow decks. Lost Cars of Ixalans had multiple. And then, as I said, we had Outlaws of Thunder Junction that was just announced as getting a reprint. Oh, Duskmourn. That's one is just going to reprint. So I still like Commander decks long term. I don't understand it. I talked about another video. I think the cultural shift where the buyers used to be very single oriented, like Commander players would just pick up the singles they wanted. And now it seems that it's gone so ultra casual, or at least the Commander format has gone mainstream ultra casual, that it's actually precons are things that sell really well. And there's just not any value in them. That's what I'm worried about precons in the future for what Wizards of the Coast is able to do with them, because a lot of lands they used to bank on getting at least like 50 cents out of are now like 5 cents. Like the real world value of some of these rare lands, they might as well print them as commons in these Commander decks of how many times they've printed them. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked with that. I do need to do a video on the these guys here, the Commander decks from Aetherdrift. Now these are out of stock at distributor level. I was able to secure some more, so I do have these available. You can see I'm running super low. I'm limiting them right now to patrons for like 1, 2, or 3, depending on what tier you're at. But these have a ton of value in them, but all the value is actually from the new cards. So a lot of the reprint, even things like Panharmonicon, they've just absolutely got crushed. But there are some really, really good cards in these decks. And these are fun these are one of the better decks. In fact, so I played last night. I did play in our Commander night. I opened up the zombie one and played it out of the box, and it was actually pretty fun to play out of the box. So kudos to Wizards with these precons of really crushing it. There have been some good ones. So even Outlaws of Thunder Junction, LCI, Bloomburrow, very, very popular. So I think they're pretty good long-term pickup holds for just people that want to pick up older Commander decks once they actually become old. So anyway, that's enough talking about the Magic. Let's talk about Pokemon. So unfortunately, this is what you see in front of you is what I got from 4 distributors. This is my allocation. Actually, the bulk of this was from one distributor. Like one distributor kind of came through and it gave me a little more. But I mean, look at my what are these, tins? So mini tins from Prismatic Illusion. Out of 4 distributors, I got 5. Surprise boxes, I got 10 out of utilizing 4 distributors. Blooming Waters. Actually, this was just one distributor came through and another distributor gave me 1. So fortunately, one distributor had come through with 2 cases of them. However, 2 distributors completely stubbed me on Blooming Waters, and another one gave me 1 Blooming Waters, which was funny. I'm opening the box and seeing the one that was super packaged. This is ridiculous. Look how big these suckers are. So I don't even know how to handle these. Like, we'll sell some of these at the store, but I am going to offer some patrons that did put in for these. I think they're going for like 120 on TCG Player on the secondary market for the Blooming Waters, and they're actually selling pretty well. And this is the most ridiculous packaging yet from Pokemon. Look how massive this is. And there's no reason that it needs to be this massive. Like even like Walmarts and Targets and I guess like Costco's have room for this sort of thing. But imagine displaying these even on the limited amount of space that they have in that area at your like Targets and your Walmarts for. It's supposed to go for, was the MSRP for this was like $60, wasn't it? I think is what they wanted this to sell for, but of course 151, and Pokemon are still going nuts. But you could easily condense this down. We've seen other, like this isn't much more than like a Lucario. How many packs are in this Lucario? So we still have the big card. So the big card here, and this has 6 packs. And what does this have? Like 10 packs in it? But I mean, look at the difference. Now I'm showing these premium collections versus this Blooming Waters. Jeez, what that does is it's just massive to try to ship. So they fit in these big boxes. So this is how they're like shipped. Is actually, here you go. Here's what the case looks like. This is how big the box is. So unfortunately, dimensions is what are going to get you with shipping these, not weight. Once you get over a certain dimension, it is expensive to ship coast to coast. So if you're like shipping from East Coast to West Coast or vice versa, it's incredibly expensive. We're looking at minimum of going from like East Coast to West Coast. You're gonna be looking to ship, this will be like $20-25 minimum for just a Blooming Water, just one of these. So I'm gonna have to reach out to patrons that did. Again, I do not have enough to go around. There's just gonna be like high tier patrons are gonna get one maybe of these Blooming Waters. It's just kind of the sad fact of Pokemon right now. And you have to reach out to me if you want these actually broken down. I understand why people would want these sealed, but I mean, it's going to be the difference between $20-30 to ship this. And of course, you can add this to other orders that are, heavier, like, throw in booster boxes and stuff. Or if you're looking to, pick up like binders or other things that are big, then yeah, we could justify sending this sealed sealed. But if you are just wanting the packs and the promos, like reach out to me and I'll break them down for you and just send you the packs and the promos, because this is just ridiculous at this point of how big this guy is. Like I said, it goes way over those dimensions. So USPS dimensional rates, it'll be way too big to ship the Blooming Waters. I believe so anyway. I don't think there's a dimension this could fit in. And even when you're getting into like UPS, it's going to be expensive to ship coast to coast for this. So anyway, I apologize for the lack of Pokemon. I really, really would like to get everyone what they ordered, but this is just the reality of it. And I think the market is showing how rare these are, with Blooming Waters are approaching like 120, 125. Something that's surprising, pun intended, surprise boxes are selling pretty well. Mini tins have gone down quite a bit, but the Prismatic Evolution is definitely flatlined and gone down with like the binder collections, the poster collections, and the elite trainers. So most of Pokemon continues to rise in value, and the Prismatic is pretty much flatlined. I think it's because people are worried about a massive reprint that is coming. But if anything is the case here, I'm thinking that we should see a rebound, because for transparency's sake, I put in for hundreds of each of these, over 100. So each distributor I put in for over 100 of the surprise boxes, the mini tins, the Blooming Waters, the others. So we have a few other things that are still coming out, right? Like the 3-pack blisters and the booster bundles, I think, for Prismatic Evolutions are still, down the pipeline for this. If it's anything like 151, they'll probably continue to trickle this in and reprint it as time goes on. So 151 in Crown and the Surging Spark reprint that everyone has been talking about, I still have no information from distributors about any booster boxes. So what we did know is there was some booster bundles from each of them that were released, and the numbers of them also were not very good. So like I said, I got very few from, I remember showing in the last video that a distributor allocated me one booster bundle from 151. But these Surging Sparks are slowly trickling in, like every few weeks, I think. I think a distributor will offer me like a few of these. So that's like how Pokemon's doing it to kind of keep people held over for supply, but not really releasing a lot of supply like people were anticipating with like a whole booster box or Elite Trainer rewave. Again, I'll keep my eye open. If you have any other information about Surging Spark or 151, these supposed reprints that are happening, let me know if you have more information. Like I said, I'm not in the most in the loop for Pokemon. I am definitely an expert on the Magic market. That's the one I've done the most money with, the market that I know the, dedicated YouTube channel towards it. So that's what I have a lot more info for. So I'll try to get on top of things with Pokemon, but Pokemon is just a madhouse right now, and it seems that like the way that it's being distributed right now, I want to blame distributors a little bit, because I see these people on TCG Player that have like massive amounts, but you never know if they're even going through traditional distribution, if they've sourced through other means to get their product. But it still does seem that Pokemon is prioritizing big box stores, which is disappointing. Of course, I don't know, maybe Pokemon not so much, because it is one of those things that does really well at like a checkout stand, and the vast majority of people that play Pokemon have no interest in actually, or collect Pokemon, have no interest in actually playing the game. So the justification of needing an LGS at that point is not as good. But I would have to say that the Pokemon does owe a lot to organized play, because I think during Scarlet and Violet era, it was the organized play that was keeping Pokemon alive. I don't want to imagine the crash that would have happened with Scarlet and Violet 1 through 6 if they didn't have that really, really vibrant organized play. In fact, that time period, I believe, shattered records. We actually are not seeing the same attendance ratings for pre-releases, and this is globally, pre-releases and other attendance for Pokemon like we did during Scarlet and Violet 1 through 6. And it's crazy. I remember like Battle Pass VIPs and Nest Balls and all these things that were needed to actually play the game were selling at just a obscene rate. And like what about the Lost Box, the pieces in those, the Lost Box and things like Caromat, what's the card? I'm so bad at Pokemon. They were selling, like, we had rares that were going up to like $5-6 that were actually played in competitive decks. And it's this crazy market too, because now, that's flipped, where we're back to seeing Pokemon decks are insanely cheap to build for competitive cards, because, everyone is chasing the ultra collectible cards, and it's just flooded the markets with all this other stuff, just the cards that aren't collectible but are playable. So Pokemon is just such a weird market with that. But again, I hope that Pokemon will still continue to prioritize stores and keep that organized plays alive, because I'm assuming that Pokemon will go through a lull again, where it will just be a few sets. It's always a chain reaction that happens with Pokemon, where it's like one bad set does the exact same thing. So you gotta give Twilight Masquerade a lot of credit, because Twilight Masquerade is the set that got everyone excited again about collecting Pokemon. And then they kind of had a little stinker with Stellar Crown, but then Surging Sparks had the massive demand. But I don't think that demand would have been there if Twilight Masquerade wouldn't have somehow got everyone back into wanting to collect Pokemon. So as I mentioned, the Scarlet and Violet era was rough. Everything was, I quit ordering Pokemon, and now this is probably the result. And again, I don't want to blame myself too, because I had a lot of patrons actually stick me with so much Scarlet and Violet. I remember there was one patron, and he'd been a patron for quite some time, that ordered 3 cases of, it was one of the Scarlet and Violet sets, and then refused to pay because the TCG Player wanted me to match TCG Player. That's what it was. It was this big argument of usually I make people prepay, but Pokemon's been so weird that I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to take into his money until I have everything in front of me that I know I can actually ship off. And this particular patron ordered like 3 cases of, I want to say it was like Temporal Mastery, or maybe it's Paldea Evolved, which is actually worth a lot now. And they wanted me to match TCG Player. I'm like, that's not this operation. This operation is like, I do not take a cut on products that I order from distributors for orders. So that's the whole subscription service model, is it's money up front. I order from distributor, I get it, I ship it, and all the fees and all the shipping, all that stuff is paid. And yeah, that's the whole process. You're basically paying for my time and my access to distribution. And so unfortunately, sometimes these products are more expensive at distribution level than they are at TCG Player. And the patron just couldn't get through their head that it was like, no, well, it's going for this amount. I'm like, I know, but you agreed on the pre-order price. I'm sorry that Pokemon has crashed so bad that they're $80 a box now on TCG Player, but I'm not matching your order with market price now that it's collapsed. And so I just got a bad taste in my mouth. I remember blowing out most of the Pokemon I had. I'm like, we're not doing pre-orders anymore for Pokemon. I'm going to wait, and then if they're available to order, then we'll just do normal orders for Pokemon. And now I'm sort of kicking myself because we'd built up a lot of numbers through the Sword and Shield era of just taking everything, because I wanted to have access to booster boxes, and you have to take a bunch of crap to be able to get as many booster boxes as possible. And then the Scarlet and Violet era just kicked me in the teeth, and now, it feels like we're like resetting with distributors of trying to build up that rapport, trying to build back up numbers to where I could actually get a decent amount from distributors. My worry is that we're going to go through another lull, and then we're going to be back to people not wanting to take stuff, and people, unfortunately, that's kind of the name of the game with the market, with certain, this is why I always prefer players over speculators, over resellers, because players want the product to play with, and oftentimes there isn't this big sticking point of if a product goes up or down, 5 to 10%. But other people that are trying to make money off of this, which is more power to you. If you can find a way to eke out using this subscription model, using my, like I said, my access to distribution, more power to you. Do whatever you want with your stuff. But yeah, it can be very frustrating when this happens, when people just don't understand that this is, this is not an operation. I'm taking a cut on these products. So if I, order something for you, please, please, please take it and help us build up these numbers to where you can actually get some decent stuff. So anyway, I guess that's story time for today. The vast majority of people that I've worked with have been phenomenal. I just want to thank everyone for the amount of people that have at least looked it over and signed up. And we are backed up. We are very, very backed up with orders. You can see, look at my mess here. We'll scan here. This is just from the last 2 days that have come in. So you can see this is normal orders. This isn't a pre-release or anything. I guess you can kind of say these Pokemons were pre-orders, but just boxes of piling up. And this doesn't even account for all the ones that I've, broken down here. So yes, I'm not as big as some operations that do this, but we have been growing leaps and bounds, and I want to thank everyone that has joined, and the people that have all the encouragement and whatnot. So we're going to continue to try to scale this business so it can get to the point where it doesn't kill me, but at the same time we can scale it to where I have access to even more juicier stuff. Actually, cool news, I actually did finally have a distributor call me up and say, hey, this person canceled an order. Do you want to take these? I think it was like 3 Stellar Crown booster boxes. They canceled an order on some Stellar Crown. I'd love to, you've been good to us. You want to take this order? I'm like, yep, will do. We'll take these Stellar Crowns, which is crazy. Now Stellar Crown is looking at, what are they approaching, like 170 a booster box, which is crazy. I think, isn't Stellar Crown considered the second worst set out of the Scarlet and Violet era, right around just base set Scarlet and Violet? And even noticing things like Pokemon Go are starting to go back up in value. So hopefully this market can hold. As I mentioned in this video, the history of Pokemon has been so swingy. That's why I've been very, very weary of going all in Pokemon, because it's just a market that can turn on its head in a second, and everything just evaporates with where it becomes not where I even say profitable, but where you don't take massive loss on buying even from distributors. So I do worry about Pokemon long-term because of just how much Pokemon is out there, but that's another video for another day that gets everyone up in arms about things. But the amount of Pokemon that exists from Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield era is nuts. And I'm also seeing a lot of discrepancy between jump back to the Sun and Moon era, and a lot of those prices are not following. You would think that those would be following the Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield era stuff, and it just makes no sense that a lot of the things that are actually more rare than these things that are not rare in the scope of things are not moving at the same pace. And so that is a bit concerning, but this video is not going to be about, ringing bells and raising red flags, because I don't want to get spammed by a bunch of cultists again about my opinions about a particular game of what I'm seeing in the market, and then people, Anyway, we'll let it go right now. I got some pre-releases to run. Hopefully I'm going to get a pre-release video up on my other channel. I want to, as I've stated, I feel like a broken record of saying this. I do want to get those other channels up and going and really start releasing a lot more content. But let us get our bearings together. It's good to be feeling good again, back to 100%. So all the pneumonia is gone, all of the other effects, health effects are pretty much over with now. Now we're back to being healthy, knock on wood, and hopefully we can start scaling this operation. So again, appreciate everyone that stuck around this channel. And if you want me to talk about a specific topic, let me know in the comment section. I love engaging with everyone. I've realized this is what I like to do. I just like to be behind the camera, kind of talking about daily shop. I don't want to be so repetitive that I just show the back room and all the mess that's been building up. But yeah, let me know what you want to hear about anything related to the shop or life, or I'll have to show you some pizza that's coming out in a couple days. So I'm cooking pizza for the pre-release. So we'll have some awesome pizza, some homemade sourdough pizza for anyone that attends the pre-release on Sunday. I think Sunday is when I'm going to do it. We'll see. We'll see when Kevin actually fills up to cooking some pizza. But yeah, good times here at Gonor Games. Thanks for watching.